too. Hello, D-Rock here. Welcome to the channel. I hope you all are well. Today I've just been practicing with my new Rolling Mavericks Enduro Jack. So the question that I had to pose to myself, especially with the Yamaha XT250, which is the bike I ride into the deepest part of the backcountry. Behind that it'd be the CRF300L, and then either the Suzuki or the KLR. So the XT250 does not have a center stand on it. So the question I had to ask myself was, it's inevitable I'm going to get a flat in the terrain I ride in. What am I going to do? How am I going to change it? I've also had viewers ask me, how do you intend to change it? So oftentimes I'm deep into the desert. And let me just rewind a second. There's a good video about how to change a flat tire by yourself with a tree and a ratchet strap. And it's a fantastic video. Off the top of my head, it's a big channel. Arteme, oh man, I can't. Anyway, I'm sure if you're watching this, you've probably seen that video. It's really popular. It's a great video, very helpful, and I learned a lot from watching it. But the problem is that where I ride, way out in the desert, that sometimes there's no trees. So I needed something to jack the bike up, and I know that you can make these type of jacks yourself out of like a crutch or something like that. It doesn't take much to do it, but I just chose to purchase a Enduro Jack by Rolling Mavericks, and this is it right here. All right, there it is, all packed up. That's how it was delivered to me. Got the jack and the pieces and a user manual. That's it. Very, very simple. God, what did I spend? I think the jack's like $40 something, and then shipping. I'm in Utah, and this shipped out of Amsterdam, so I think shipping was $30 something. So under $100. That may seem expensive, but it seemed like a quality item. So I didn't mind spending. I mean, you're spending on shipping as much as the item, but that's okay. You can choose a cheaper option. It just takes a little longer to get there. So I wanted it to get to me within a week, and it did. It got here in 5 days from Amsterdam to Utah. So shipping wise, they were on it. And yeah, so if you don't mind spending a little extra money for shipping, you can get it in less than a week. You don't want to go for the shipping, the more expensive shipping. I think it could take up to 14 days. So, you know, it's up to you really. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at what the jack consists of. It's not too terribly complicated. So there's the actual tube, and one part of the jack fits inside the other. So there you have it. And then you've got the other pieces here, which consists of the actual like T-head that'll support whatever you're jacking up, whatever part of the bike. The floor plate here, a pin, and then comes with this little piece of Velcro here, which is handy. And of course the user manual, which is nice. Putting this together, not a big deal at all. So just remove this. How this jack functions off the O-rings, and you do get extra O-rings, so that's cool. It does clearly state in the user manual that this is an emergency jack only, not to be used, and I'm quoting here, like in your garage or workshop, but out in the wild in an emergency situation, i.e. you get a flat 100 miles deep in the desert, this is what you got. That being said, it also clearly states in the manual to take some time and learn how to use it with your bikes. That way, when the inevitability happens of a flat 100 miles deep in the desert, you know how to get your your bike jacked up. Okay, so you want to get the floor plate on, and that's pretty simple. Here are the holes here to connect to the thinner part of the jack. That will adjust. Get your floor plate on. You'll see there's obviously a difference. This, of course, being flat, this is going to be the bottom, and that just goes on this section where there's no holes in it. Bottom section, let's just say. And you've got this here. You got the O-rings. You've got that piece, the edge, the lip there, and that just simply goes in as such. Boom. Pretty simple. And there's your floor plate. After that, this is where you need to, you can put the T-head in, right at the narrowest, or I should say not the narrowest, but I guess any side will do because they're similar. They're both the same, it appears. And that simply fits in like that. And then you can insert the thinner tube into the larger tube, and then you can get your measurements correct when you want to jack up your bike. It says you want it 5 centimeters above, say, the swing arm or the bash plate where you intend to jack. 5 centimeters is roughly 2 inches. I had to look that up, by the way. I don't know off the top of my head, but it's not too terribly complicated. And then just put it in to where the pin won't come out, and there you have it. Your jack is ready for action. All right, so here's my XT250. This is the bike that I go the deepest in on the backcountry or the most gnarly terrain. That's where I ride, and when it's going to happen, this is going to be with me, and it's going to help me change that tire out when I'm in an area where there's no tree to brace it against and jack it up with a strap or something. So I think this is going to be very handy. So let's demonstrate that again with this jack on getting the XT250 up. One thing I'll say is I already have a hole in my bash plate, and the skid plate, or skid plate, bash plate, same thing. The plate I have on my bike is a Zeta plate, so it does state in the manual and in the video you may have to drill a hole in your bash plate to accommodate the jack. So that's not a big deal. And then, of course, you want to find a point on the swing arm. This seems like a good spot right here for me on the XT. So to get the front up, I've been kind of messing with this. You, of course, want the kickstand down already. And I didn't want it too high, actually. That's what I've realized when I was just messing with it at the beginning. So where I want to set the jack at. So I want this maybe 2 inches. So like right there. You just want it high enough to where the wheel is just off the ground. So that looks about right there. And you want the jack, of course, as straight as possible. You don't want it off at an angle like that. So that might be a little, that looks all right. Although I don't think I need that much. That might be too high. So I'm gonna drop it back down one. And that might be where I want to get that front tire off. So before you start with the front tire, you want to make sure it's in first gear. And if you're going to start with the rear tire, you want to use the Velcro and make sure the front brake is engaged. And also, before you jack up either one, you want to make sure that you've loosened the nut on the axle first. So there you have it. And I'm just kind of quoting that from the manual as well. So let's go ahead and get the front placed up. And I figured that's kind of where I want it. So we'll just put that in there. That might be too high. Well, that might work. That's what I got for clearance. It's pretty stable. Now the XT is a nice light bike. If I was on the KLR 650, I don't know, I'll have to mess with that too. But this seems to work just fine. I could probably go down, I don't know, a notch. It's just something you have to work with, but that will work. I could get that tire off, I could get it changed and back on, and the bike is pretty darn stable. All right, let's do the rear. So I'm just going to engage the front brake with the Velcro strip that was supplied. There, front brake is engaged. Okay, once again, I'm gonna have to kind of do some measuring here. Oh, kind of want it maybe that high. So that's maybe like that, huh? Looks good. Just push it. Probably go a little higher there, but it's not too high, it's still low, so it seems to be a little more stable and pretty much set. So we're gonna put it in neutral real quick. And looks like bump. There we go. That'll work. I should probably go a little higher with that, but you get the idea. I'm out there 100 miles deep in the desert and there's not a tree to lean the bike and jack up against. This option is definitely gonna help. All right, while we're at it, might as well try the CRF300L. So once again, I've already got a hole I can use in my bash plate, so I don't need to drill anything there. All right, I'm gonna drill a hole right here because this one's not working, so that's gonna have to be the spot. All right, I'm having some issues with the CRF300L. Getting the rear tire off the ground is not a problem. It's getting the front tire. The bike falls forward, and I've drilled a hole. I thought that might have helped, but it isn't. Also, I had the, I think it's the kickstand. The kickstand. This is a stock kickstand. It sucks on the CRF, man. I need to get the extended, but I had the extended plate off, so I just put it back on. Had to put some weather stripping in there. It was rattling around. So let me try it one more time now that I've got the extended floor plate on the kickstand. So simply out of curiosity, I just put the drill on the rear of the bike because I feel like the bike might have more weight in the front than the back. I don't have anything in the bags here, but it just seems to be more heavy at this point because the bike kept leaning forward. So I've got a little more weight on the back now. Just try and make it throw a rock. I could throw anything up there. Just improvising at this point, and I want to get this front tire off the ground. Okay, so let me get it back in gear. I've got the jack in the hole I've drilled. Let's try this again. Huh, no way. That was the ticket. Look at that. So I could probably go a little higher on the jack. Tire is spinning. So the hole I drilled works. Bike is stable enough anyway. And I've got a little bit of the tire touching. So I think if I just situate the jack a little more, as you can see, I've got the jack through a little bit. I could probably widen that hole a little more, but I've got the jack pretty much straight. That made a big difference getting the floor plate on, and the bike is now fully capable of getting that wheel off. I mean, it's not the ideal solution, but that would work in an emergency. All right, I'll have a little more stability here. I widened up that hole a little bit that I just drilled, and now we can get the jack fully in there, so maximum stability. All right, so now I know without a doubt that I can both get the XT250 and the Honda CRF300L, the front and the rear tires jacked up for be able to pull off, replace a flat, and get back on. All right then, I think this is worth the investment. So it does say, once again, I'm just kind of quoting from the user manual, you want to find a hard, flat surface to do this on, both for your kickstand and, of course, for the jack itself, and to practice. Practice a few times before you go out there and have to deal with the situation, especially when you're could be injured or could be panicked, or all these factors, variables that go into it. So I think the demonstration went well. I mean, there's a learning curve, a small one, but I got both those bikes up. Now, as far as the KLR 650, I do have a center stand on this bike, which is what I'd use, but in the event that anything can happen at any time, that's pretty much what I figure. So I'll carry this whenever I'm riding any bike, and that would just help out. So there you have it. That is the Rolling Mavericks Enduro Jack. I think light Enduro Jack, Ultralight Enduro Jack. That's what I'm looking at the manual here. Rolling Mavericks Ultralight Enduro Trail Jack. That is the whole mouthful there. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for watching. We have a lot more content on the way, so thank you again. Folks, stay safe out there. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We'll see you next time. D-Rock out. Adios.